Today on the Diz List, we bring rides to the World Showcase.
Welcome to the Diz List, the podcast that lists everything in Walt Disney World. I'm Nick.
And I'm Rob, and today we're going to talk about World Showcase. This is part 1 of 2.
Yes.
And we had this idea either in our Patreon. We record our episodes back to back. We do a special bonus episode for Patreon members every week. Yep. So this was either at the end of that. You probably remember.
Yeah, it was.
We were part of the main show. Which was it?
So it was during the Patreon. We were talking about, bring it because it was St. Patrick's Day. We talked about
Ireland,
doing Ireland,
yeah.
And like how there's not enough Irish representation in Disney films.
Right.
And then for some reason that led to a discussion about World Showcase.
Yeah.
And then from there we were like, we need to do an episode about this.
Yes.
Because not every pavilion, in fact, most pavilions don't have rides. They might have an attraction, they might have a movie, but they don't have a ride.
Mm-hmm.
And so we thought about it and we said, hey, there's 8 that don't have rides.
Yeah. Originally, I said 13 because I knew it was an odd number.
Yeah, because there's 11 of them.
Shockingly, you, Mr. Numbers, were like, yeah. And then later on, you were like, nope, there's 11.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
But it's okay because you take away the 3 that have rides.
Yeah. Maybe someday we say what the next 2 are, and then it'll be 13.
Yes, exactly.
I know what mine would be. I'll tell you right now. I'd say India and Brazil.
I'd say Australia and Brazil.
Okay, great.
But yeah, India would be great food-wise. That's
yes.
for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was just kind of like an organic conversation that turned into us deciding that we were going to do this.
Yeah.
And I think this is going to be a pretty cool episode. It's very similar to something we would do on our Patreon.
Yes.
But this is way too long to do as a Patreon mini.
You want to explain the process, or do you want to do it after we talk about some news bits?
Why don't we talk about news, and in the second half of the show, we'll introduce it with what the process was and how we decided this.
Okay.
Yep.
I'll start. This past week, my parents went to Orlando.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They don't go to Disney anymore. They're done. Like they don't want to go. We invite them to go, and they don't want to go with us. It's fine. We went every year in the 80s and 90s, so I think, I get it. They're a little burned out on it. We're going to try again this year and see if maybe, not my dad. My dad I love him, but, he's getting older and it's harder for him to get around. He walks fine. He plays pickleball, but that's a big day for my dad. So he'll be 78 this year.
Okay.
No, just turned 78. So happy birthday, Dad. March 15th was his birthday. And, they probably won't go, but they went to visit family. If you've listened to the podcast before, my whole dad's side of the family is down in Orlando. Yeah. So that's why I went so often when I was a kid. And my parents came yesterday. My son was in this local play, and my parents came to see him, and they walk in the door with a Disney bag. And I said, "You didn't go to Disney." They go, "No, we didn't, but we got you something." And I went,
"Did they go to Disney Springs?"
Well, that's what I said. I said, "Dad, did you drive over to Disney Springs?" He's like, "No, we didn't go too far. We didn't stray too far from the path." They went out to dinner a couple times, but did you figure it out yet? Airport, yeah. So my mom gives me this bag, and I unwrap it. And if you're watching on YouTube, you'll get to see this. So I got this cool mug, and it is a green Magic Kingdom mug, and it has the castle on one side, and you can see there's the pirate ship from Peter Pan.
Yep.
But on the back,
oh wow, a Disney dad.
It's a Disney dad mug, and I kind of love it. So many times on the show, Nick and I will make fun of all of the Disney dad shirts. We, personally,
it's a running joke.
Right, it's a running joke. If you are listening, you're like, "Hey, I wear a Disney dad shirt." That's fine. Nick and I love making shirts. We have this side business called Magic Merch, which we'll talk about later, but we love making t-shirts. So when we go to the parks, we make fun park specific shirts, and then we laugh because there's all these Disney dads. We're like, you guys could be so much cooler. You just gotta, or wear we're wearing the different fun. What do you call these? So this is a Roosevelt's one, but it's like
the Prince.
What do you call them? You call them the party shirt, or you call it?
Disney calls them woven shirts, but yeah, the patterns with So like I'm wearing my parade, my light parade one.
Yeah, I love that one.
So I think that's a great mug.
Anyway,
I love it.
It's cool. I saw it and laughed, and my wife looks at me and her eyes get really big because my parents don't listen.
Right.
Like, it's fine. I'm not upset that they don't listen to it because, like, they don't want to listen about. They've been to Disney enough.
Yeah,
They're not as excited and, a nut like I am.
But it's kind of it's a cool mug though.
No, it is. It's really cool. It's this like
I like
it's like an olive green. It's almost like an army hunter green with hints of like light blue and navy, and then on the other side is the little, not really the modern Mickey Mouse, like the crud. I forgot the name of the animator. We say it all the time.
No, that's not his.
No, it's not. I'm saying it's
Ruddish. You're talking about Paul Ruddish?
Yeah, and it's kind of, I would say maybe it's the 90s looking Mickey.
Yeah, I would agree.
You know what I mean by the 90s Mickey? He's a little bit late 80s, early 90s Mickey.
Yeah.
Anyway, so my parents went and brought me that back. But I thought it'd be funny. Sometimes on the show, Nick and I, like, we'll prepare kind of what we're working on. But a lot of times I like getting your actual reaction.
When you turned that around, I was like, oh my God, it's a Disney dad mug.
But speaking of which, if you're not watching us on YouTube, you can, if you want to see the mug, hop over to YouTube. You can see it. And do you want to talk about the contest real quick now? It's perfect timing.
Yeah.
We've been talking about it a lot on social media. We've been pushing it. You want to talk about that?
Sure. We got a couple more weeks here. By the end of March, or at the end of March, we're going to take and put every single one of our subscribers over on YouTube into a randomizer. And one person will end up being drawn, and the prize is a free shirt from magicmerch.art.
That's our other company.
If you want to go look at the shirts that are available there, you can. It's over at magicmerch.art, as I said. Lots of different subtle nods to Disney, some not so subtle nods. Not IP, but like definitely things that you're like, oh yeah, like I did a few, like meet me at the lounge and like certain lounges. So like whether that's Tamboo Lounge or whether it's Rose and Crown Pub. So if you're one of the people who likes to drink around the world, I've probably got a shirt for you. And Rob's got some cool drawings up there. He's also got some cool group shirts for like the Figment and the countries. So, But yeah, that's what our contest is. So if you're subscribed to us over on YouTube, you don't need to do anything else. If you're not subscribed, you just need to, and you'll be entered into the contest.
This next news bit, I'm going to guess you know about. I actually got a text from a listener. Our friend Eric sent this to me because he knows how much I like Figment. Did you see that little news bit with Bob Iger?
I did.
Yeah. Do you want to explain it? Just because I have a giant news bit next, so I'm going to let you talk about this one a little bit.
Just that they want to do like short. I couldn't tell if it was short films or like shows for Disney Plus or what they wanted to do
based on Figment.
Yeah.
Cool. So I guess we'll see what that is.
It was very
vague.
It's very vague. Purposefully.
Exactly right. That's what I was going to say is they float that stuff out there just to see what the reaction is.
Yep.
And I mean, it's pretty easy to find out that he's a beloved character. People, they hate the current version of the ride. It's such a funny, weird, polarizing thing because a lot of people, well, you're an interesting case because I went into the original ride in the 80s and I've kind of maintained my love for that character for so long, even though this current ride sucks. But I still love the character.
Right.
Now, you love the character, but do you hate the ride?
I don't hate the ride, but I don't like it.
Right. But the character is cool and fun.
I love the character.
Yeah,
I think
me too.
Figment's awesome.
Okay. So that's kind of interesting. If they were to, I don't know. They're doing so much over at EPCOT. We'll see. But I would like, it might be a good start to do something through Disney Plus, even if they're those little shorts that they do all the time. I agree. That'd be great. This next news bit, and then second half of the show, we'll get to the list because this is awesome. So last night, we went again to my son's play, and we got home, and the kids went off to this cast party, and my wife and I were looking for something to watch, and we went on Amazon Prime, and I'm flipping through, saying, oh, what can we watch? We're kind of, when you search for kind of a new show you want to watch, and I saw this thing, and it had, I think it was an icon of Dumbo. I'm almost sure it was a Dumbo icon. And it said, really big, up for auction. And I'm like, what's this? So I clicked on it, and it's the show that's called Up for Auction, obviously, starring, and I think this guy was like an MTV DJ. His name's Chris Hardwick. Yeah. Remember that guy?
Yes.
So he's the host of the show. All dad jokes, all like nerdy, dorky, like this. Every joke he makes, I roll my eyes, but it's, it could be worse. It's kind of funny. But what the point of the show is there's this gentleman named Joel McGee who has the world's biggest Disney collection. Most of it is Disneyland, but there's some things that are from EPCOT and Disney World, but most is Disneyland. He has the largest collection. In the second episode, he estimates, this guy, Joel McGee, estimates that he's auctioning it all off, everything. His estimate was $5 million. I think it's going to be well above that. I think it's going to be 10 to 15 to 20 million once it all comes together. So here's what it is. You got like the three hitchhiking ghosts, the original animatronic ones from Disneyland. What? You have a Dumbo ride car. You have a Mr. Toad ride car. Every poster hand screened from the park. Cast member costumes, you name it. Like all the maps every year, the maps from the parks, like kind of like the one that's behind you, only the real versions of all of them. It's fantastic. So I think we got episode 3 maybe. So what happens is they take this entire collection and this auction house, they go through every single item and they have to categorize all of it. And then this auction house, they essentially rent out this old mall in Los Angeles. You can tell, like, when they go in the inside of it, I said to my wife, I go, oh, yeah, that's a Bed Bath & Beyond. You can tell exactly how it's set up. So they clear it all out. They bring in the collection, and this is the coolest part, and this is going to help sell it too. When they organize the auction, you get to go in and see every piece like a museum, but they organize it by land. So you walk in, you start in Tomorrowland, then you go to Fantasyland, then you go to Frontierland. So they're all grouped by that. According to, and it's set up the same way as it would be in Disneyland. There's a couple sections that are other, which is, other parks and,
EPCOT.
Stuff like that. So there's like a Figment animatronic that's there. There were working animatronics from the Tiki Room that they actually hooked up and they would talk and move, and it's wild. So as a Disney fan, so people are listening, okay, wait, what was that called again? It's called Up for Auction. Okay. And it's on Amazon Prime. If you have Amazon Prime, it's not anything you have to pay. It's just there for you to watch.
Prime Video. Yep.
If you are a Disney Parks fan, and if you're listening to this, you are that person.
Yeah.
It is very fun to watch. And again, the jokes, Chris Hardwick's jokes are mega dorky. I like the guy, but it is the hardest eye rolls with some of these jokes that he does. But I can get through it. But it's a very, very cool show.
Definitely going to add that to my watch list when I'm bored and have nothing.
It was great. And I know that was a long explanation, but this is the audience for that show.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And again, I'm not affiliated with Amazon Prime. I wish I was, but yeah. Anyone want to sponsor the show, jump on board. Let us know.
Chris Hardwick, if you're out there, we'll take your dad jokes.
Yes. Yeah.
So we're going to actually head off to the halftime show in a moment, and that's brought to you by our patrons. As Rob already mentioned, we do a mini episode each week after this. I wouldn't really call it mini. I'd call it a bonus episode. Sometimes they run long. Today, for instance, we're going to talk about some stuff that I've heard about the new Epic Universe and get Rob's reaction. But if you head on over to patreon.com/DizlessPod, you can sign up for that. You can even sign up as a free patron. Make sure you let me know your Instagram handle so I can add you to our close friends list so we can post some
I did a bunch of close friends stuff this week. Yeah,
I saw that. Yeah. So we're going to head off to the halftime show, and we'll see you right after the break. Welcome back. This half of the show, we're going to be talking about bringing rides to Epcot's World Showcase. Now, we discussed last week this idea during our Patreon, and what I did was I took all of the 8 pavilions that don't have lands. I broke them into 4 groups, and I said, hey, Rob, odd or even? He picked evens. He got groups 2 and 4. I have groups 1 and 3. It's going to be a 2-part show. This week, we are not re-theming anything. It's not full re-themes.
We're adding 2.
We're adding 2 these pavilions. And I don't know about you, but I am not thinking this was with no regard to the fact that plausibility as far as like size and like what you'd have to take out. I personally was like, pie in the sky.
Figure it out.
Go figure this out.
Yeah, I got one that they're definitely gonna have to figure out too.
Okay. So,
did you see there was a fire in World Showcase last night?
I did. I posted on our story that it looks like Maleficent visited World Showcase and Flower and Garden.
Yeah.
Because it looked like there was a big giant, like there was a picture I saw from, was it a picture from the boardwalk maybe? But it was like you could see the plume of smoke like coming up from.
Do we know what was on fire? I don't have that info yet.
I mean, it was yesterday, and I didn't get a chance to go and look it up before I came here this morning.
By the time people are listening to this, that may be.
Oh, I'm sure there's even more.
Everybody knows by now. That's why I didn't want to spend a lot of time on that one.
No.
All right, I'm going to kick off here.
Sounds good.
All right, so the first one, I won't reveal all the ones that I was dealt, but I'll just talk about my first one here. So my first one was going to be the UK Pavilion, which is funny because this is what we did on our Patreon episode last week.
Yeah.
And I had to think about what are we going to do? What are we going to add? What's an attraction that we can add to the park? We have talked about a couple different things that we can do, and I had to go a different direction because if you're a longtime listener, you're not gonna want to hear that it's Mary Poppins again because they talked about doing that. Disney did. Mm-hmm. We've also discussed moving Mr. Toad and bringing Mr. Toad to the UK Pavilion. It's not that either because I've discussed that already, and that would be a 2-minute discussion, and that's no fun.
Low-hanging fruit.
But that is a possibility too. But what I came up with was something a little bit different here. In the UK Pavilion, I want to focus on a Disney property that has been popular for a long, long time, but most recently you haven't heard a lot about it. And that is 101 Dalmatians.
Oh.
Not a lot of people have talked about it recently, but there was a movie a couple years ago that did really, really well.
Is that British?
Yes, it takes place in London.
Okay.
I had to look it up. I wasn't sure. So I looked it up.
I guess I don't remember their accents. That's why.
So I looked it up, and it says London.
Okay.
I went, okay, so it's London. What I did to begin with was I looked up which Disney movies are set in. You're making me panic now. My eyes are getting big. Like I swear it's London.
No.
Can you please double check while I'm doing this?
I can't because I'm recording this on my phone, so I can't.
Good. All right.
You're good. You're
All
good.
Right.
We'll go with London.
I have to look now because you're the fact that you questioned me. I'm like, oh shoot.
No, you're good.
I have to look right now.
You're good
because if we get this far, and I have this great plan, 101 Dalmatians. What should I say? City, location.
Yeah, location.
Okay, I got to be right.
I'm sure you're right.
Have to be.
You said you looked it up.
I did. Oh my gosh, has to be.
Yeah. I'm sure it's fine.
Yes.
London.
City of London.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And they're not talking about London, Ontario. They're talking about London, England. So you're good.
All right. Sheesh.
That would have been bad.
Yeah. Listeners are like, yeah, you're okay. All right.
I like how you wanted me to look it up on the phone that's recording me right now.
I know.
Right.
And I'm the one sitting right in front of the computer here. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, back to business. So 101 Dalmatians, what I'm thinking about is it's going to be, and I even went to the movie and watched part of the movie and everything for this. So I want to call it 101 Dalmatians Escape Cruella because there's a scene in the movie where the Dalmatians, they put soot all over their bodies so that they're black. So at the beginning of the ride, you're part of the story. They need your help. You need to help Pongo and the rest escape from Cruella.
Okay.
Because she obviously wants the Dalmatians here. So that's the story at the beginning. You have to help. So you get in your car, your vehicle, and you have to help them escape because Cruella's after us. Yeah. So it'll be, I'm thinking it's something kind of like a part dark ride, part coaster, part something that's similar to Mr. Toad where your car kind of goes everywhere. It's not like super fast. No, but when you turn the corner, there'll be a projection of Cruella coming at you, and you have to turn the corner and get away.
Mean, it lends itself to the trackless ride system of Remy.
Yes.
Where like when he reaches underneath the, there's a rat, and he goes, and you're escaping.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think it could be very exciting for kids. I think it could be a ride similar, and I think that's a really good comparison as compared to Remy, where it's a thrill ride, but not like a fast speeding ride where you turn the corner and something exciting happens, or there's a pop, or the water comes from the ceiling, or it's in the winter, so maybe they could figure out snow in some way like it is in the Frozen sing along. But I just thought that'd be a really cool dark ride because it's at night. You're helping the escape, and it's a property that people love. And then at the end, you walk through the gift shop and you buy yourself a Dalmatian puppy on the way out. Not literally, but like a plush. I know I got to be a little bit more specific with that.
Interesting.
But I just thought,
I mean, why not? They sell you cars in the front of the park. They can sell you.
That's true.
They can sell you a puppy on the back.
You almost bought the Carhartt edition.
Jeez.
I like bringing that one up.
So
what do you think? What do you think?
Fun? I think that would be fun, and I think that the Dalmatians don't get enough love in the parks.
Yeah,
I love that property.
Great movie.
I think it's a great movie.
The remake they made a couple years. Emma Stone, I think, was Cruella. She was awesome. Yeah. That was a great movie.
Yeah. I mean, I think you.
It was her origin story, right? Is that how that was?
I think
yeah,
so.
It was.
I think it was called Cruella.
That was a great movie. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's a very good one, and not a property I would have thought of instantly.
Well, yeah, and that's why I Googled it.
Yeah.
I looked at everything and thought, oh, that's, you know what? That needs a little bit of love here.
Yeah, I got dealt a rough hand this week.
You did, but I know you can pull it off.
So, I got dealt. The first one I'll do is America. So I got the America Pavilion, and believe it or not, even though Walt Disney is an American,
it's harder than you think,
and it's an American company. There are very limited properties that have anything to do with the United States. There are 2 that I can think of, or 3. I mean, there's Lady and the Tramp, there's Pocahontas, and then there's Tiana's.
Yeah.
So, like, you've got Princess and the Frog. Well, guess what? We've already got an attraction for that. So I thought maybe I don't do anything with IP. That's what I thought initially. And then I was like, how cool would it be to do a Pocahontas dark ride?
Great.
With the soundtrack from that movie, which I think that soundtrack is really good.
Yep.
And have it be especially about the colors of the wind, right? And so not quite Soarin', because that's already in the same park, but a way for you to kind of go traveling through the American countryside, wilderness, whatever. Like you are with Pocahontas, right? And that's that song.
Pocahontas narrates it, and you hear the song.
Yes,
that's a cool idea.
So instead of just a static movie, right, like you have in Impressions de France.
Are you in an auditorium? Are you sitting in a chair?
No, I do picture something where you have a ride vehicle. I would, like I said, not Soarin', because that's obviously already done, but something where you are not aware of the people around you. So maybe more like a Flight of Passage sort of thing.
Cool.
Where there is a movie in front of you. Okay. And you are basically going through these amazing, because the country, I mean, the United States is such a beautiful country. We just
it's so diverse.
We don't travel there. We literally don't travel and see our own country.
Yeah.
And so seeing all of those different places, I think would be really cool. And then hearing like the soundtrack of Pocahontas with her narrating, like you said,
Colors of the Wind. That's
Colors
that
of
song?
the Wind.
That's a
Exactly.
great song.
And so, like, you think about. I mean, we've been very lucky in the last year where there's been the solar flares have put on quite the show for us as far as the aurora borealis. So seeing that at night and being able to see the northern lights is so cool. And I think that if you did something like Colors of the Wind where there's the northern lights are showing or whatever, and then going through like a New England area in the fall, like there are entire groups of people in the United States who have never experienced fall leaves in the Adirondacks, in the Green Mountains, in the Northeast. That to see that is, I mean, we live here, right? Yeah. We can go to one of the coolest state parks in the nation just down the road from us, and see like that beautiful gorge in Letchworth and like see those things. So I think that would be really, really cool way, because it still would lend itself to EPCOT, educational in ways, talking about the history of our country before, basically before they were colonized. I think it would be a really cool way to pay homage to the Native Americans that were here long before Europeans came. And I think that's one of the IPs that lends itself to that. So that's my first one.
That's cool.
But you had
my second one was Japan, and I've talked about this one, my idea for this on the podcast before, but I got an idea watching that show last night.
Okay.
The auction show. So my idea for Japan was, I didn't come up with this first part. Okay. This is something that Disney's talked about doing. So full disclosure. Okay. Well, Disney was going to do. I know Disney was going to do this. They were going to take the Matterhorn from Disneyland, and they were going to make it Mount Fuji, and they were going to put that in the Japan Pavilion, which is essentially what I would like to do. But this is where I got my idea. When I was watching that show last night, they one of the things they were auctioning off was one of the I don't know, call them carts or the cable car thing that they used to do, the buckets and then you would ride like the Skyliner through the park.
Correct. Yep.
And I'm watching the footage of it because that's what they were talking about. They weren't talking about the Matterhorn, but they said, a long time ago, you used to be able to, ride in a bucket through the park, and you weren't, and definitely no one was spitting on or doing loogies on people below. And I went, ew, I never thought of that. That's gross.
Yeah.
But then they show the shot, and the shot is of the Skyliner, but it wasn't called that.
Yeah.
The Skyliner going through the Matterhorn. And then I thought about where Japan is right now, and how right behind Japan is the Skyliner. How cool would it be if somehow it's right behind it? And I know there's space, like it's not directly behind it. No. But what if somehow they made a way that you could, I don't know if it's you can't really go underground because it's all water. But if they made a way that you could get on the ride, and part of that ride, the mountain, when you're on the Skyliner goes through Mount Fuji just like it used to be with the Matterhorn. I thought that's great. Why don't they bring that old idea that they used to do at Disneyland and bring it here? Because it's already a tribute to Walt's idea. That's all Walt from a long time ago.
Yeah.
But then obviously they closed it up. But inside Mount Fuji would be that roller coaster ride, just like the Matterhorn ride. And it could, and this was my idea before I thought of the thing going through it. One of the really important things to Japanese culture are dragons. And we do a lesson in my class where we talk about Japanese dragons and their significance, and every color of the dragon has meaning and, strength and knowledge. But part of Japanese dragons is that they live in the water. They can live out of the water or in the water. And then I thought of the way the Matterhorn is set up. And if it's a copy paste, the very end of the Matterhorn, your car kind of skids through the water and it splashes up on the side, not so that you get wet. But I thought, how cool would it be at the end of the ride when you're skidding through, the dragon, not in a scary way, but the dragon head slowly rises up. And then I'm sure it would be, scary to some people, but try to make it in a way that it's more majestic than frightening.
What if your car is a dragon?
It could be. That could be too. And then it's going through the water because your car is a dragon. Yeah. I like that too. That would work. But that would be kind of the theme, would be Mount Fuji and dragons, which is so important to Japanese culture. And then, that's a cool thing too. And then if it were the car, what that would mean is everyone could be a different color. Maybe there's a word printed on the inside that's, knowledge, strength, that represents what the color represents for the Japanese dragons.
Yeah, I think that's cool.
I think it would be cool. I love that would be a nod to Walt.
It would be, because it's something that happened on the West Coast.
Yeah, it was his idea,
and then,
or not necessarily his. No offense to the Imagineers, I'm sure.
Right,
he was part of that decision.
Right, exactly. I just wonder if will they give you free chiropractic adjustments at the end?
I think they just need to redesign it smoother. I mean, that thing bangs you around.
Right.
I mean, you hear those jokes all the time. The day you get to ride it, you'll get off and you'll go, "Yep, I just got knocked around pretty hard on that."
Yeah, but, I mean, it's worse than our Space Mountain.
Yes, it is. It's funny that if our Space Mountain is a 5, right? As far as if, let's say
only a
10,
5.
Let's say 10 is super smooth.
Okay, yeah.
And 1 is awful.
Okay.
So
10's like Guardians of the Galaxy.
Our Space Mountain, I don't know, 5 or 6. It's not awful. Probably 5. I would say Matterhorn is like a 2, and then in Western New York, the Predator is like a 1. You know how you get knocked around in the Predator?
Yeah, you get a headache.
Matterhorn's a little better than that.
Yeah.
And then the Space Mountain on the West Coast is a 9 or a 10. It is a 9 because 10 is definitely Guardians of the Galaxy as far as smooth
Guardians, Tron, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
So I think with the Imagineers and how smart they are and the testing they can do, that they could redesign a track and a system that would be smoother.
I'm certain of it. Yeah.
So yeah, I'll do a quick review. I had at UK Pavilion, I'm thinking 101 Dalmatians, and then for Japan, bring Mount Fuji and have a ride centered around dragons in there. It's specific to their culture. But I also want to say, I have no problem with IP, and I have no problem with just it being tied into the country in some way without.
Absolutely.
Doesn't necessarily need to. And that's the beauty of Disney, is that the parks can create their own characters, like Figment, like the Pirates, like Haunted Mansion.
Mm-hmm. My second one is also an Asian country, because I drew China. And again, I was thinking, what IP could I use?
You have some choices, though.
I do. And
at least one big one.
I decided to go with the one big one that we have.
Great.
Mulan.
Love it.
Now, what I would like to see is actually not a Mulan ride, meaning it's not about Mulan, it's about Mushu.
Cool.
Okay.
Another dragon.
Yes, which is why when you said something about the dragon, it's like, oh,
well,
no.
So, let's say hypothetically we're in charge and they both happen. The easy thing is that in Japan that could be dialed back so easily that the focus is just Mount Fuji and doesn't have to be the dragon.
So
your focus can be the dragon.
So mine, whether it's Mushu as in like the main character or you're riding a dragon type train, I kind of thought it would be cool. The kites, so Chinese kites, the cultural. So because I do think Epcot needs to bring in culture, right?
Yeah.
And so with Remy, you have the culture of France, of the cooking and of great chefs, and so that is still part of their culture. And kites in China are an amazing part of their culture, and they're beautiful kites. They're the artistry of building these amazingly intricate kites.
They're amazing, yeah.
And so something along with Mushu and these kites, I want a roller coaster, okay? And I want the roller coaster to be an indoor. I want it indoors. I want it to be very similar to like a Guardians.
There's got to be room back there behind. I'm sure there is.
And with using projections along the ways of like Guardians or like pseudo projections, I'll call it, like that. When you do that one spin where there's the Earth. Sorry, not the Earth. Is it the Earth? The Moon? Whatever. When you're
I know what you mean.
When you're going in that spiral around the planet, that's really kind of a cool effect because it's a projection, but it's not a projection. You know what I mean? I want that, but with China, where you're zipping down through the Great Wall and like all these other cool things.
Cool.
Some of the footage that they've used in I can never remember the name of the Chinese the movie in the China Pavilion, but that particular movie, some of the scenes from that movie could be then projected in this roller coaster. Mushu is a funny character. I think it's like sidekick wise one of the funniest characters. You just look it up.
Reflections of China.
I knew it.
I couldn't remember it either.
Yeah. So I think a Mushu ride. I'm not thinking it needs to be. It doesn't need to be about the dragon, but I think Mushu is just like a funny character, giving him some love, and having it be a mythical creature, and then it could be that, or it could be kites instead of the dragon. You could be like on a kite type thing.
You know what I pictured when you first said that was I thought of it over in Universal, the Hagrid ride, where you kind of go through these like bricks and ruins and things like that. Imagine keep everything that you just said, but imagine it zipping in and out of, let's say they build kind of some sort of replica of the Great Wall, and you go under and over, and then the kites are there, and
specifically, I want it to be a suspension one. Where
I do,
because to me that would lend itself to feeling like you're the one flying, whether it be the kite or Mushu. You would feel like you're part of that flight.
Is that the way that they're looking to do the Monsters?
Yes, it
Inc.,
is.
The door ride.
Yes.
Cool.
It doesn't need to be that intricate because there's a lot. I've been on. I don't know if you've ever been on suspended coasters, but
there's one over in Western New York. Listeners, the area we're from, Western New York. Place is called. Well, it was Six Flags Darien Lake. I think it's just called Darien Lake now.
No, it's still Six Flags.
But they have one there that I've been on.
Yeah. So those suspended coasters where the track's above you, I think would be a really cool way to make you feel Like you're the one flying, like you're the dragon or you're the kite, I don't care which theming they go with. I guess if you're looking to stay away from IP, you could just do straight up kite and not even talk about Mulan.
Yeah.
But I just love Mushu. Mushu's hilarious.
Yes.
I think it's a great sidekick character.
Great character to be walking around the area.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that's an easy one too. They could do at any point.
Yeah. So my recap would be that in the American Pavilion, I want to do a Pocahontas ride. Dark ride / video like projection, kind of almost like Soarin' / Flight of Passage, but maybe not quite as big as Flight of Passage.
Love it.
And then over in the China Pavilion, I want to do a coaster, and I want it to be either Mushu or a kite, depending. And if you build yours and you want it to be dragons, I'll take the kites, and we'll be good to go.
Sure.
So that's us being our Imagineering selves this week. Next week, we've got 4 more coming. This was just something fun for us to do. It's nice to change it up once in a while and do something different than a list where we're ranking things. And this is kind of us letting us flex some of our creativity.
And we invite listeners to interact, send us messages, say, hey, you know what else would be cool? Like, you don't have to send us a message and yell you're wrong, but say, hey, I have an idea too. Like that stuff we like.
Let
us know.
We've all done it, right? We've all been, hey, I wonder why Norway's got a ride, but this place doesn't. I think they should have XYZ.
Mm-hmm. Tell us.
Exactly. Let us know on Instagram when you see this episode come up. Let us know in the comments on YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed so you can be entered into that contest. But it's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow, and tomorrow is just a list away.
Tune in next time, and we'll see you real soon.